I'm Kara Smith, and please follow me as I talk about my adventures at Kroger's, a visual presentation as I assess the Kroger's on age-friendly features. Fort Wayne is the second largest city in Indiana. Within the city, there are several different types of nursing homes, senior communities, and alternative housings for older adults. The population is roughly 264,000 people. It is the second most populous city in Indiana and the 76th most populous city in the United States. I chose Kroger's because it is a very popular store here in Fort Wayne. There are lots of stores around the whole city. Many adults shop at Kroger, including older ones. My Kroger's actually has a senior day every Tuesday. This Kroger's in particular has recently become a marketplace instead of just a regular grocery. That means they offer more goods and services from pharmaceutical needs to clothing items. What does it mean to be an age-friendly community? Not having barriers to the maintenance of activities and supporting individuals with their disabilities to meet their needs. In the picture here, I use the World Health Organization age-friendly themes, particularly looking at outdoor spaces and buildings as I assess Kroger's for being age-friendly for the entire community. Eventually, every community will have to adjust its policies and practices to cater more to the aging population. My Kroger's recently has innovated a click list where you can order online and the groceries will arrive at your door, or if you want to, you can pick them up at the store and someone will bring them out to your car and load it up for you. Today, I am using the assessment tool by the World Health Organization. It is more along the lines of a checklist with the essential features of an age-friendly community. We are focusing more on the outdoor spaces and the building. By doing this, we are assessing the city's strengths and weaknesses for an age-friendly feature. The checklist is easy to use for self-assessment and charting progress within the city. Because of this, it is more intended for the use of individuals or groups that are interested in making the community more age-friendly. The first thing I noticed as I walked out of my car was the walkways that are not free of snow, and in this picture is the extended parking lot. This would be a negative in terms of age-friendly. Just imagine you're trying to get out of your car and you're using a walker and you try to walk on the walkway, but it's still covered in snow and you can't fit your walker through there. This would be a big fall risk. For this assessment, I would categorize it in the outdoor spaces and buildings. This would also push people to use more of the parking lot instead of walkways, which is very hazardous to pedestrians in the parking lot. The second thing I noticed was the limited handicap spaces. None were available for the time spent at Kroger's. I counted 12 spots in total in the entire lot. All the cars that were parked in these spots were labeled handicapped. It is very vital to have sufficient numbers of handicapped spots and located conveniently, especially for this Kroger's that has a senior day every Tuesday. The last thing I noticed before stepping into the store was the non-slip material placed on the edge of the sidewalk. Having this there would be a good thing because it would prevent falls from happening when people are getting out of their cars. A lot of people here drop off loved ones at the edge of the doors while they go park their cars. But this material is very hard to maneuver walkers, canes, and even carts over the bumps. This material also tells people when the sidewalk starts and the parking lot ends. As you walk through the door, you will step on a fabric mat. This helps absorb water or mud that is on your shoes or carts. In the wintertime, this rug gets very slick depending on the amount of snow outside or if it is raining. Usually when this happens, a thicker rug is placed in front of the door and a wet floor sign is placed out as well. Prior to stepping on this mat in the first lobby, a heavier carpet is placed to absorb most of the moisture that is already on your feet. Either way, both carpeting is very important. The fabric mats are also placed in front of the produce that might still have residue from the lettuces, green beans, or any other vegetable placed in this area. As I made my way through the store, I noticed in the floral department some unattended boxes still left on a mule in the middle of the aisle. Imagine someone with a walker or balance problems trying to walk around this. This would be a violation of interior spaces and not allowing room for passageways. The boxes were placed right in the center of the floral department and had been left there for the remainder time I was in the store. The next thing I noticed were spots of uneven flooring. I noticed many places around the store that had uneven flooring due to the change in the tile and were not as noticeable, but as other places around the store had deeper cracks, maybe due to the foundation movement. Some spots were also repaired. This slide just gives you more examples of cracks I found throughout the building. And the larger picture shows a crack that is quite large, actually. You can probably stick about 2 or 3 fingers through the cracks on the floor. And then up in the upper corner is an example of a crack that had been patched up earlier. The aisle width. The aisle shown here is in the pharmacy section. They are wide enough for heavy traffic. By having this, it is easier for wide motorized carts and allow freedom of movement. All the aisles in the home goods section of the store were as large as this one shown in the picture. However, in the grocery aisles, they were not as wide as the home good aisles. This picture shown in the slide is a food aisle that has a pole in the middle of it, which would be really hard to maneuver around. This is not a good walkway for most people. In fact, I also had trouble maneuvering around the pole myself. In the gift aisle, you can see me in the photo as I can barely reach the top gift shelf. Standing on your tiptoes could be a big fall risk and items that are not accessible to all types of people. Make sure to always ask for assistance when trying to reach top shelf items. In the grocery aisle, however, top shelf items had a sign to ask for assistance. I thought this was a great additive. This prevents people from getting top shelf items that could potentially hurt them. People who have problems with their shoulders should not be reaching for top shelf items. However, in the home goods department, there was not a notice to ask for assistance for top shelf items. Again, people with shoulder, back, or balance problems should not be reaching for top shelf items. Items need to be accessible for all types of people. The last thing I noticed were the motorized carts. I counted 5 altogether. I asked the manager if someone called ahead if an employee would meet them out in the parking lot. The lady said yes, but it was not advertised on the website or in stores. You should always make sure these types of services are advertised for people with disabilities or an older adult. So how is my community doing? Fort Wayne has improved a lot in the past few years when it comes to making the city more age-friendly. Within the city limits, there are almost 50 assisted living communities, and a new one is opening this summer. Adult day services are common in the city. So far, we have 10. Apartments for seniors are in population. There are 15 different complexes and over 6 different transportation companies that are willing to take older adults to the grocery or appointments. While doing my research for this presentation, I noticed that Fort Wayne actually has an Allen County Council on Aging. This offers many services from productive aging to advanced care planning, Aging with Disability Center, pain management, and enhanced fitness classes, which are a 1-hour program with low impact and aerobic exercise. This really interests me because it also helps with strength training, flexibility, and balance. And we all know that longevity and fitness go hand in hand. There were also some specialty programs which helped resources on private pay and transitional care. Transitional care is popping up in a lot of retirement homes, so people are able to age in the home. The last slide is the list of resources from my pictures to all the websites I found my information at. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and thank you for being with me during my